I'm Zenobia Washington, and welcome to the show. Those of you, some people may not know, but Lowcountry Lifestyles is a big fan of Sassy Magazine, so we are giving you a sneak peek into the June issue of Sassy Magazine by introducing you to Dr. Kristin Bohan. Kristin is going to do an interview in the June issue of Sassy. This is the Sassy Gets Candid interview done by Leslie Graves Moore. And so we want to give you a little sneak peek about what's going to be happening with that interview and with Kristin. Yeah. So now she is a psychologist up on the Neck in Pawleys Island, and she's also the founder and executive director of a wonderful organization for young girls called myTERMS.
Right.
So, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you
you so much for having. I just absolutely fell in love with Dr. Bohan. We just talked for like 45 minutes on her way to her daughter's play date a couple of days ago. But the issue of young girls' body image and all of the images that they see in marketing and promoting directly to them is taking a toll on our baby girls. Tell us about this wonderful program, myTERMS.
Okay. Well, myTERMS is a nonprofit organization for girls, and it encourages girls to resist the unhealthy, negative images of what it means to be a girl that are so ubiquitous in our culture and the mass media in particular, and to invest instead in their true potential.
Right.
So myTERMS is actually an acronym, and it stands for my time, my energy, my rights, my mission, myself. And we focus on two things. First of all, raising awareness in the community about just all of the girl-hurting negative images,
right,
and then trying to sort of inoculate girls against those images. And I think of it almost as the flu shot.
Okay.
You know, we know that children, if exposed to the influenza virus, they're going to get sick, and so we inoculate all of them. And myTERMS is an attempt to give girls, while they're still healthy and whole, the skills that they will need to defend against all those negative images in the culture.
So that means that you actually have to start working with them pretty young.
That's right.
Pretty young.
Right. Yeah.
So when do you start around?
Well, last year we had our first myTERMS summer camp for girls, and we started girls at 8. We had girls from 8 to 16.
Right.
The girls that I've seen in my clinical practice over the years tend to be 12, 13, 14. And, you know, the most common thing that I've heard as a psychologist from parents about girls when they bring their daughters in is, you know, everything was great until middle school, and then the bottom fell out.
Well, the hormones are raging. They just lose their minds automatically at middle school somehow. Do you know? But I just always thought it was the hormones.
Right.
Or something.
Well, and that is part of it. Of course, adolescence, on a good day, looks pretty crazy.
It does.
Right. So it's hard sometimes to kind of tease out, what is really pathologic. But, as I've worked for many years with girls, with adolescent girls, with depression, with anxiety, with eating disorders.
Right.
The one thing that is common to so many of these girls is just this almost palpable self-hatred, and that, by and large, comes from growing up in a culture that sends some very unhealthy messages about what it means to be a girl in our culture.
Right.
I talk a lot about popular culture and about the mass media, and popular culture is just our collective ideas and our attitudes about what we prefer, what we accept as truth. And those images and messages are conveyed by, mostly and most powerfully by the mass media.
Exactly.
And when you look at the mass media for, what do we as a society believe about being female, the messages are they're limiting at best, and they're dangerous and harmful at worst.
Well, when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about those images and also what we can do when we see some of the signs. We'll be right back. We are back, Lowcountry Lifestyles, with Miss Kristin Bohan, Dr. Kristin Bohan, and we are talking right now about pop culture and the overexposure to culture and how that can affect our young girls. So now, what can all that, I think it's the bombardment of all of the images, what can that do to a young girl's esteem and her image of herself? I mean, I know growing up to see just, it's like you would think that we're monolithic when you look at billboards and things like that. Everybody's skinny, everybody's blonde, or everybody's has, a certain color eyes, or everybody's a certain height. So how does that kind of wreak havoc with our little ones?
Well, when they're younger, the message that girls get is that the most important thing is to be beautiful. You have the princesses.
Right.
And then as they get older, and really sadly not that much older, it starts to become more about being sexy. And so, you think, well, how can that possibly really damage a child, something that's in the media? It doesn't touch your child. But, if I were to say in schools from now on, we're going to start teaching children, girls, starting in kindergarten, that the most important thing about them is to be beautiful and ultimately to be a sex object, parents would be up in arms and say,
absolutely.
This is horrible. But yet, it's not part of our formal education, and yet it is a part of their informal education because the media is very influential. And it teaches girls basically that really nothing else about them matters.
Exactly.
And that, the goal is to attract a powerful man.
Right.
And not to be empowered yourself.
And to attract a powerful man that is going to take over for you and provide for you and think for you. And after you've done that, you don't have anything else. You don't have anything to worry about if you've got this powerful man. And let me tell you, that is so wrong.
That's right.
That is so wrong.
Well, and it's a lie.
It's
a lie that we tell them. You say, what can we do? One of the things I always say to parents is, and to moms and aunts and grandmas, I feel like women must stop lying to our daughters.
Yes.
And we must start telling them the truth about, it's great that you want to be empowered. It's great that you want to be in charge of your life. But being a sex object is not
going to work. No, it is not going to work. It is going to make you. Anyways, I have to have you come back on the show and talk about some of those things. But now, what are some of the signs? I know you talk about seeing depression and some eating disorders in some of the people that you work with. What are some of the signs that we need to look for in our young kids?
Well, sadly, self-hatred of women and girls is so common in our culture. We hardly notice it. And depending on what study you look at, but a Harvard study showed of 13-year-olds, 50% already are very unhappy with the way they look, and by the time you're 18, that statistic goes up to 80%. So it's so normative for women to hate themselves that noticing that a girl is struggling, it's not so obvious. But we do. There are some signs to look for. Of course, any kind of being withdrawn, sadness, isolating, not hanging out with your friends anymore, not enjoying things that you used to really enjoy. Changes in academic performance are all signs that something's going on, and a lot of extreme dieting behavior, rapid weight loss, taking diet pills, anything like that, is a sign that it may be getting out of control.
Now, you said that the thing that mamas and grandmamas and aunties can do is to tell the truth to our young people. But you're in the June issue of Sassy Magazine, and June is the month for Father's Day.
Right.
So what can we don't want to let the daddies off the hook.
That's right.
So what are some of the things that our daddies and uncles and brothers can do to uplift our girls?
I'm so glad you asked that. Dads and all men in the lives of girls have such a vital role to play in changing this. And, I would say 2 practical pieces of advice I would give to dads is, one, girls love to talk, and they feel valued when you listen. Take your daughter or your niece somewhere where there are no distractions and just ask her about her life, and then shut up and listen to her. Because that makes her feel loved, and that makes her feel important, and that has nothing to do with her appearance. And the other thing is, dads, I think, have to really try to resist that stereotype of, it's the dad's job to basically protect their daughter from all those boys with bad intentions, and that sort of image of the dad with the rifle at the door. Because all that does is really perpetuate this idea that a girl is property to be passed down from dad to the husband. And, you know, rather than saying, I'll be the man who protects you until you have another man to protect you,
yeah.
why not encourage your daughters to be able to take care of themselves?
To protect themselves. Absolutely, absolutely. So if people want to find out more about myTERMS, how would they do that?
Well, we have a website.
Okay.
And it's www.myterms.org.
Okay.
And we have a summer camp. It's our second annual summer camp for girls coming up the week of July 18th. And registration forms are online. And we also have scholarships available.
Oh, that is excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Bohan, for coming here. So if you really want to find out about this phenomenal program and about this phenomenal woman, make sure you pick up a copy of Sassy Magazine. It's everywhere. June 1st, I think, is when it come out. And read about her and check out myTERMS. I think that all of our young girls need to be exposed to it. And we will be right back. Thank you, Kristin.